to the impeccable solution of the goddess herself, to live in her wisdom, and to follow her selection.
Thank you very much, John. That is very much in line with not only my experience as a Langian psychotherapist for many years in the past, but also my own personal experience.
Fantastic. Langian, fantastic.
Yes.
Lang was a great, great visionary. And boy, he tested everything every idea, he went through it himself. And what he told us in the Politics of Experience, I have quoted many, many times, that the worst thing that can happen to a human being is that you can take away from them their very capacity to have their own experience. And unfortunately, this is the fate that has befallen the human race, largely through the archontic con and through religion and deviant spirituality. And, he was a great initiate of schizophrenia and brought a great healing understanding out of his own ordeals. And much to teach us about how to face this situation.
Thanks, John.
Sure.
Thanks, Uranus. Thanks, John. Next question is from Patrick.
Yes, John, along the lines of supernatural awakening, I think we need to discuss mushrooms and other psychoactive natural plants that have been around for millennia. Just
right.
How important is the psychonautic experience in seeking to finish the unfinished animal, as you put it? Can we get there intellectually without having to surf the tide that Terence McKenna was famous for? I don't have to be in an altered state to see that culture's not my friend.
No, you certainly don't. You certainly don't. And I would say that, I love this question, and I'm so glad that it came up because it just gives such a great shape to this whole discussion that we're having here. With the shape and the veracity of our discussion would be missing something without this question. So if you just give me like 5 minutes here, I'm going to fire off on a couple of points. First of all, I'm just going to give you my understanding of what the psychoactive plants are as I got it from Sophia herself. What she taught me in the first experiences and encounters I had on Infinity Ridge here in Spain in around 2002 and 2003 was absolutely momentous. When I had the breakthrough and I realized that in a trance state of heightened attention, I could actually communicate with the planet and receive instruction from her poured into my own mind as a pristine language. I was in total ecstasy. And I had some really fantastic moments with her, and she was able to instruct me in some of the really essential fundamental factors of her correction. And the subject of psychoactive plants came up in those conversations with Gaia, as it did also in the people who were around me at the time. She told me that the existence of the psychoactive plants, plants with psychomimetic chemistry on Earth is no accident of the plant world, and it's not just a game that she plays. She didn't create them just for the fun of doing it. As she is an artist, everything she does, everything she creates, from a seahorse to a daisy to Mount Everest, is an object of great beauty. There is intention in the beauty that she creates. And she told me that the intention of these psychoactive plants was very specific for aiding the human species. We now know that there are about at least 200 species of these plants, as estimated by Schultes in the book and Hoffman in the book Plants of the Gods. Let's say 200 or more species of plants that have a particular relation to nitrogen in the atmosphere. They use nitrogen in a way that doesn't appear to be necessary for their survival. And so scientists and botanists have been puzzled by this. But she says these plants are corrective to our insanity, which itself is due to the great latitude of freedom that we have. unlike other animals. They have more freedom to invent and discover, but also more freedom to make mistakes to the point of becoming insane due to our errors. Is that clear enough?
Yes, it is. I also understand they used to use it for alcoholics and other ills.
Well, they're using it now. Ayahuasca and iboga and other psychoactive plants that were used for countless thousands of years are now being used to cure addictions. So this is a new breakthrough. But Gaia provided them because she recognized that the human species would have trouble with the archons. She recognized that we would have this problem of correcting our own errors, although it is our greatest gift to make errors. It is our greatest liability to not be able to detect those errors and correct them. See, that in a nutshell is our dilemma. And so these plants are provided as brain medicine. And as you know, they are psychomimetic or cerebromimetic. That is to say, that they don't do anything to you except enhance the properties that are already operating in your brain. They enhance the electrochemistry of the brain, and they put it up on turbo. So when you go on turbo, you go right out of your program, of your operating system, as Terence McKenna calls it. You clean out, psilocybin mushrooms will clean out your operating system, put you into silent knowing, and then they'll take you right to the organic light. That's their job. They're emissaries. They are teachers in their own right. You can learn things, say, from psilocybe cubensis that would be different from what you would learn from ayahuasca or from psilocybe campanensis or something like that. Each of these species has their own particular properties and personalities. They are genial species. They communicate with us by actually joyriding in our nervous systems. When you ingest these mushrooms in the proper manner, they actually take over your nervous system and your brain, and they drive it for you. And they're able to drive it a lot better than you are. And so they will take you to the organic light, and they were used in the mysteries and used in indigenous settings all around the world for thousands and thousands of years, exactly for that purpose. So if you would ask me, can you get there without them? I would say, no, I don't think so. Given the state of the human mind, it's much easier to get there with them. They are provided for us for that purpose. They are harmless. They are non-addictive. And so why not use the tools that Gaia provides to overcome our disability? Having said that, though, I want to add this little point. Terence McKenna wonderfully said that in an indigenous society, the shaman is the person that the society allows to go out of it and then come back again. You see, that's like me. It's like me. I'm a Nahual, which is a practitioner of shamanic trance, a Nahual and a shaman. And I don't live in a tribal society, unfortunately. I wish I did. I don't live in a community. I don't even have an entourage of 3D people around me. But if I did, you might be one of them. And you wouldn't necessarily have to go in and out of the supernatural. You see, because the rule for a sane community, a sane tribal society, is that some of its members do that. They're the shamans and seers who investigate the supernatural. They're the ones who go consult with Gaia on problems of water, of things that concern the health and sustainability of the community. But the secret is, not a secret, the requirement, the requirement is that such people, like myself, would have to be honored and respected by the tribe in which they live. So, not everyone in the tribe, including you, has to eat these mushrooms and go into these trances, but you would respect and honor the people that do. And there would be a recognition of their role, and those people the shamans of the community would come back to the community and share what they learned. And that is what keeps a community in connection with the supernatural and saves it from being suffocated by the limits of human culture. That's what allows a community to renew itself.
I agree totally. Unfortunately, we're kind of upside down in our society.
Well, we have been for a while. You know, these Abrahamic religions, these conquering salvationist religions of the Sakkadic Father God, look at what's the first thing they do when they get to any place? What's the first thing the conquistadors did when they came to the New World, as I described in my book? They saw paradise. They saw people who were generous, open, and innocent, even though they were ferocious warriors when they needed to be. Columbus himself wrote with perplexity in his journal, I can't figure out what these people are so happy about, you know? And what did they do to those people? You see? So we don't have a society today, we don't have societies today that recognize someone like myself and Terence McKenna as an important counterbalance in culture that can go out of the social paradigm and come back to it again, sadly. And boy, that is one reason why we're in such a mess. It's a big, big reason in my view.
I agree. Thank you, John.
Sure.
Odison, you have a question for John.
Hi.
Yeah.
So this is on behalf of Bluebird, one of our members.
Sure.
John, at what point do you think we as a culture recognize that LSD in particular was not a mind control agent, but rather a consciousness expanding path? And would you today advocate its use?
Well, yeah, I would advocate the use of LSD as a kind of trainer wheels. You know, when you were learning to ride a bicycle, sometimes you would put trainer wheels on the back if you couldn't balance. So you would get comfortable with the idea of riding this bicycle, and then when you were comfortable enough, you just unscrew the trainer wheels, and there you go. You can encounter the organic light with LSD. I have done it myself, and I have done it in the presence of a couple of other people. So even though it is a synthetic chemical, because of the purity of its composition and the extraordinary properties it has to pour surf across the synapses, LSD is, I believe, good LSD, pure, is a safe and reliable way to start experiencing or exploring these trance states and the trance attention that will take you to Gaia and take you to interactivity. I tell you, in the 60s, I took LSD for the first time in Madras, India when I was 19. I came back to New York at the height of the psychedelic era. In 1965 and 1966, I had the good fortune to be able to experience pure Sandoz LSD. And I used to take quite massive doses of it at the time. Fortunately, it was easy to purchase, and the conditions of the trade in LSD were trustworthy. I can tell you that what I experienced was not merely a business transaction. I remember very clearly the first time in the Lower East Side